my fellow comic book collectors, it's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and this is part 2 of this newest unboxing. I keep on having to come up with different names for each of my series, but this is the newest one. And then the one after that, I have no idea. The really newest one, I don't know what it's going to be called, but this one for now is the newest. And yeah, it's a pretty good part. We're gonna go through all these ones, so quite a lot of stuff, and let's get right into it. It should be fun. First one is this thing, which I gotta actually unbox a little bit. Okay, so lately I've been picking up a bunch of pulps. Really, the goal is to get pulps before they go crazy in price. And I've been trying to go for pulps based on the same kind of ideology or way of thinking that I apply to comics and the ones that I buy for comics. I'm not saying I'm the expert or the best or whatever, but I buy comics that I think are cool, first of all, that appeal to me, but also ones that I think will have appeal to other people. So for example, when I look at Golden Age comics, I will kind of target comics that have sort of key features. Maybe some good girl art, maybe some bondage, maybe some skulls, or some horrific things, or some interesting elements that will, be things that are very collectible or very desirable. Well, with pulps, I kind of do the same thing. And one other thing that I do look for in comics is cover artists that are famous or well-known cover artists, because generally people will gravitate to those books and they will become more valuable over time. Well, I put all of those elements into this book in terms of ones that I thought were a really great one. And actually, my friend Stephen Gettner, he actually picked this up before I did, and he paid more, but don't tell him that. I got this for a really good price, and it's a really nice copy, actually, really in high grade. This is Weird Tales, and I forgot what the issue is. June 1936. So this is a Margaret Brundage cover, and she's the one that did one of the most iconic pulps of all time, which is the Batwoman cover. And this one came out, I think, a little bit later than the Batwoman cover, but it is just a really great cover. Look at that, like the frail and the Dracula kind of staring. He's not staring at her face, he's staring at her neck, and I think he's a bit peckish because he's really really staring at her neck. So just a really great Dracula cover, great good girl art cover. I thought this one was just a really, really awesome cover. And I had actually tried to get this book a few times, and I finally managed to get a copy, and I got it for a great price. So I guess I had to wait for the great price one to come available. But this one is in really great shape. The only issue is maybe this one corner has got a little bit of a ding, but really nice presenting other than that. So yeah, just a really cool book. I was super excited to get that one. And so that's one example of a pulp that kind of meets all those kind of criteria that I look for. And here's another one, another pulp. If I can get it out, they wrapped it really well. And I'm always paranoid when cutting, because I don't want to cut the book itself. Okay, let's see. They make it really hard though. 1 second. Wow, it is really well sealed. Wow, I always, sometimes people overwrap, and that can be a real danger. And this one is in that kind of overwrap. Look how many pieces of tape they use. It's just like so much tape. It's like, oh, you kind of, okay, yes, you taped it. It's taped. It's not going anywhere. Okay, let's see if I can get this out. Wow, it is just really well taped. Oh, wow. And this is a major book. This is actually, so the Brundages are great, but this is actually probably a bigger book, much bigger. I know it was more expensive too, actually, when I bought it. This one is kind of a key book for Alex Schomburg fans. So as I said, I go for big artists. I go for the artists that people are collecting. And Alex Schomburg is a well-known comic artist. But what people don't realize is his first work was actually in the Pulps. Actually, even before he did Pulps, he actually did I think for sewing machines, or you do these manuals for the for the sewing machines. But his first kind of pulp artwork, first sci-fi cover, is this one. This is Startling Stories. I forget when this is from. September of 1939. And this is Alex Schomburg cover, and it's his first pulp cover. And it's a great sci-fi cover where you got these girls and the boxes and stuff, and I guess they're stealing from the graves. It's like very odd, but very interesting. What does it say here at the top? Novel of the future, the future complete in this issue. Startling Stories. The Bridge to Earth. So, very interesting one. So yeah, very cool. Alex Schomburg, first major published work. So that's a pretty big deal. Sci-fi cover, a bit of good girl art, just a really great one. Really rare, hard to get this book, and I actually got a really good price. I think I paid $200 to $300 for this one, which, if you look it up, it's quite a pricey book because there are a lot of Alex Schomburg collectors out there, and this is a major key for Alex Schomburg. So this is before he even did any comic artwork. So a very, very important book. I believe it's Daring that he makes his first comic cover appearance, which is a couple years later. So just a year later, I believe. So yeah, very important one. So those are some of the pulps that I've been picking up. Now, as I said, I go for generally the good girl art, especially in comics. If you watch my channel enough, you'll notice I buy a lot of sexy girls on the cover. Well, this is kind of a pulp in that same vein. I just thought it was it's a really great cover. And so this is Wonder Stories, Thrilling Wonder Stories from volume 30, number 1. And this is, I'm not sure what year this is. It might say on the side. This is April of 1947. And I think this is an Earl Bergley cover. Or Bergie. I always mess up his name. So yeah, so Thrilling Wonder Stories. I just thought this was a really great cover. And it's in really great shape. Actually, this is from my comic shop. And they graded it as a 2, which I think they're way off. Unless I'm missing something. Unless the back cover is horrible. This thing is in really great shape. The spine is really, really sharp. And it looks really phenomenal. I'd have to check the back, but it looks really in good shape. I don't know where they get the 2.0 from, but it's in really great shape. Okay, so that's that. Now what else we got? Okay, I got some more. Okay, some more pulps. Oh, and we're going to get into a big book. A really big book. So one of the biggest books that are actually in this order is in this in this part. Well, so the next thing is another Alex Schomburg. And this one, I gotta kind of unwrap a bit. So Alex Schomburg, he did the comics for a long time, but he's actually more of a pulp artist. He did more pulps than he did comics. And a lot of collectors don't realize that, but he did a lot of pulps. And one of the pulps that he did, here, I'm just trying to get it out here. Okay, there we go. Was Isaac Asimov. And this is Alex Schomburg cover. And it's actually, I believe, where is it? I'm trying to find the signature. I thought it was signed by Alex, where, you know, he has his signature on it. I'm not sure, but I can't see it, but it is an Alex Schomburg cover. I thought this was a great one. Now, a lot of his sci-fi covers were sort of hit or miss for me. This was a hit for me. I thought this was a good one. Where what he would do is he would draw like some spaceship or something like that, and I thought that was a little bit boring. I like ones with more people and good girl. I thought this one was kind of a mixture of the two, where it's got that sci-fi elements. You got these, people, right down here, and you got this guy, and it looks like a futuristic wheelchair or something. I don't know what he's doing, and it's just a really cool sci-fi cover. And so this is from Isaac Asimov, Volume 4, number 4 from 1980. So one of the later Alex Schomburg covers. So I thought that was extra cool. Okay, next. And this is the big book, actually, in this collection. This was a win off of my comic shop, actually. They had an auction. And I saw this book, and I was like, oh, finally, I'm going to get something that I've been trying to get for the longest time. And I've been trying to find the first appearance of Popeye in comics. And it has been a roller coaster. I keep on thinking, oh, this is the first. This is definitely the first. And then I find out that there's earlier appearances. Now, Popeye was originally created in 1929. And he didn't really, he was in the newspaper printing, but they didn't actually put him into a book or anything until 1931. And the first comic kind of book is like a large format one, which was 1933. So I was trying to find something that was closer to that 1929 era of Popeye. And if you look up on certain sites, it'll say that it's like Popeye cartoon book is the first appearance, but that's 1933. On other sites, they will say Popeye Thimble Theater, or Thimble Theater, actually. Thimble Theater featuring Popeye, number 1, is the first Popeye, and that's what this book is. This is Thimble Theater starring Popeye. And you can see this is the very first comic book appearance of Popeye. Series number 1 from 1931. And this is a very hard book to find. Actually, the weird thing was, once it was, sometimes I feel like when you start to think about something and like start trying to get something, all of a sudden, I don't know why, but it seems like a whole bunch appear. So there was actually 2 auctions that came up. One on Heritage and one on my comic shop for this book. And the Heritage one went pretty insane. It went beyond what I wanted to pay. But then there was this one. I thought, oh, maybe it's a little bit under the radar. The type of people that are on my comic shop, they might not bid on it. And I was right. I got it for a fairly good price. I was quite happy. So this is Thimble Theater starring Popeye, series number 1. And you got by Sager, who's the guy that created Popeye. Just a very cool book. I finally have it. This book will be actually on my desk from now on. It's going to be like right behind the camera, and I will look at it all the time because I've been trying to get this book for the longest time. So I'm putting it right there. It's going to be right behind my camera. And I'm so happy to have that finally. Oh, I bought so many books along the way trying to find that first appearance. And after doing a lot of research, I found out that was truly Popeye's first appearance. Very hard book to get. Very hard book to find. And it's very hard to find out what that first appearance is. So I was quite excited when I finally got it. Okay. This next one, another well-bagged and boarded thing. Let's see. This one actually, oh wow, a lot of big books in this one. Okay, so this is another big book actually. And this one I know is not in the best shape, to tell you the truth. But it is one that I was super excited to win this one. And I got it, like this was an eBay sale. And I was super excited because I thought it was going to go like 2, 3, 400. It's just going to go crazy because it's a major key for Wonder Woman. This is Sensation Comics number 94. And this is the first all-female issue where basically it's Wonder Woman stories, but also stories of characters that are unique to this one comic, where it was female characters that this is their first appearances in comics. There's like Dr. RX or something like that, I think, is one of the characters. There's a bunch of female characters that make their first appearance in this book. I believe this is from 1949. And just a really cool book. Only a sudden call for help could prevent Wonder Woman from marrying Steve Trevor. What will her answer be to SOS Wonder Woman? So very cool book. Also one of those potential wedding comics as well. So yeah, so Sensation Comics number 94. Very big key, actually, important key for Wonder Woman is that book. Okay. Okay, so this a lot of pulps in this episode. I'm glad I kept all the pulps together. I think this one is kind of interesting. So what it was is actually I was interested in one of these books. It was a lot of 3, and so I'll show you the ones that I really wasn't bidding on the other ones. I just was trying to get the main one. So this is Startling Stories. This is a later issue. I believe this is from like probably the 50s, mid 50s. So Startling Stories. And then we have a slightly earlier one. Does it say? It doesn't say. It drives me crazy. Okay, so this is another early, like maybe early 50s, I would say. Startling Stories. And then the one that I was trying to get and the one that I wanted from the lot was this one. I just thought it was a great cover. Startling Stories. This is actually Startling Stories number 1 from the series. So this is from January of 1939. So this is Startling Stories number 1. And so I was bidding on it, trying to get this key issue, which is the first of the Startling Stories series. So just a cool robot cover, and I like people in these kind of tubes. I don't know why I like people in tubes covers. Is there some weird fetish for that? I have no idea. But I definitely like people in tubes cover. I think it's cool. I don't know. I just think it's cool. And this big robot cover as well. So it's just a really great one. Startling Stories number 1 from 1939. So very cool. I was quite excited to get that. And I got it for a great price because it was at auction. And I didn't have any competition. Nobody bid on it. I bid on it and got it. And there was others listed, actually. I think there was like 2 or 3 copies listed. There was one in that was the auction, which was that one. And then there was a bunch that were just by itself and really expensive. Like, I was like, okay, I don't think I'll go for those ones. Yeah, so like I lucked out on that one. All right, so some more pulps. Wow, it's like the pulp issue. So as I was saying, like I really am targeting pulps before the price goes up. And I think it will, because now that they're grading pulps, you're going to find that the prices have gone a lot up. I've already seen some of the graded ones and how much they're asking, and the prices are crazy, like 3, 4, 5 times what the pulp had sold for just a few months ago. So yeah, the prices have definitely gone up. I've even seen on my comic shop where they're listing pulps at much higher prices than what they had just a few months ago. So this is kind of like the time to pick up pulps before the prices go. Well, actually, maybe it's too late now, but This was kind of like when I picked these up, it was kind of the time where it was just right at that right point where the prices hadn't quite jumped up. Okay, one sec here. This one's a little bit of a challenge to get out, so just bear with me. I taped it really well. It's like really thick tape too. I don't want to cut into the book. Okay, it's like a cardboard plus tape. It's like this weird cardboard tape thing, and I was like cutting through it, and it's not working. Oh, can I get this out? So it included, I don't know, they put this little piece of paper in with it, which is kind of cool. It shows a whole bunch of different pulps and stuff, which is interesting. Or maybe old magazines. I'm not sure what these are. I'm going to keep it, though. It's kind of interesting. And, oh, it's still taped down. Oh, my goodness. Sometimes they overdo it. It's good that they try to protect it, but they can kind of overdo it and drive me crazy. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so this one, I don't know why this one was so cheap. This was, like, I paid $10. I can tell you, I paid $10 for this, but I thought it was a really great cover. And it kind of strangely reminds me of Chamber of Chills, number 19. And I'll explain why. This is, because you're going to say, why is it remind you of Chamber of Chills 19? But it does, and you'll see why. Okay, so this is a new detective, does it say July of 1948? And the reason it reminds me of Chamber of Chills is just her top. Really, it looks very similar. If you look at Chamber of Chills 19, look at her top, do the comparison, it's similar. Okay, but I thought this was a really great cover. I think actually my friend Lyle was the one that told me about this one. And I thought it was a really great cover. Nice headlight cover too. And you know, you got the blonde and the red dress, and this guy with a big scar on his face, and just a really great cover. I mean, the pulps, now that they're being graded, I think will really increase in price just because they're not pulpy anymore. They'll be like more like art. And you can really focus on how beautiful the covers are. And these, you can see, I mean, the level of art that's on the pulps is, I would say, even better than the comics. So really great covers. Really enjoy them. So that was New Detective, and it was so cheap. I was like, why is it so cheap? But yeah. Okay. Can I get this out? How do I open this one? Very interesting. Okay. Man. Okay, so my friend Biggie Shack was the one that got me to buy this one. Oh, man. So we went from pulps and Golden Age to a more modern comic. And this is Marvel Comics Preview, or Presents, I should say, Presents, number 175. And this is actually kind of a cool book for a lot of reasons. It's got this crazy Spider-Man Skulls cover, but also it is the first appearance of New Gen X. Okay, New Gen X. And it's also the last issue of the run. And Marvel Comics Presents actually had a lot of keys within it. So it's kind of an end of an era for this comic series. So kind of a cool book. They wanted $60 for it. I got them down to 30. So I thought it was a reasonable price. So New Gen X first appearance in this book. I'm not sure who New Gen X is. I just thought it was cool that it is the last issue of the series, and it is a key. So I thought that was cool. Okay, let's see what else is in here. There's 3 more thingies to go, and I'll wrap up the video after that. Okay, the next one's another pulp. No, it isn't a pulp. Oh my goodness. And it's, wow, another big book. This is a cool one. I like. Well, it's not like a huge book or anything, but it is a cool one. This is Bullet Man, number 10. I'm not sure who did the cover. I kind of want to say who did the cover, but I'm not sure who did the cover. But this one is definitely a cool book. I really like this one because it is the first appearance of this doggy. So if you've watched some of my older videos, I was really heavy into collecting the super pets. Well, this is the Fawcett super pet. This is Bullet Dog. And Bullet Dog is just another one of these silly characters that goes with the whole Bullet Man thing. You got Bullet Man, you got Bullet Girl, and you got, well, you have to have a Bullet Dog. So this is Bullet Dog. So, yeah. So, Bullet Man, Bullet Girl, and introducing Bullet Dog. So crazy. So yeah, just a really fun book. I've been trying to get like a run of Bullet Man. So this was the other big key in the series of Bullet Man. And there's a lot of really great covers by Macroboy in this title. I'm not sure if this, I don't believe that this is a Macroboy, but it is definitely a cool cover. Especially to have Bullet Dog on the cover because he's cool. This one actually I'll put it behind me because I like it so much. Oh wow, jeez, this is like like big book after big book. Wow. Okay, another big book. This is like another really big book. Oh my goodness, this is almost like a finale book. Is this one Flash Comics number 88? This is the first appearance of Gentleman Ghost, who's actually a very interesting character. In this, it kind of like hints that he's like not really a ghost, but then at the same time, it sort of hints that he could be a ghost. It's a really interesting story because, you know, he's using obvious trickery to pretend that he's a ghost, but then there's certain weird things that he does that kind of leads you to think maybe is he really a ghost? So this is the first appearance of Gentleman Ghost, and it's in actually the Hawkman story. So Hawkman is trying to capture Gentleman Ghost, and he doesn't at the end. He actually, Gentleman Ghost gets away, obviously, and they later revamp the Gentleman Ghost story, and there is actually going to be some more Gentleman Ghost in here because, you know, what happens with me, I go down these rabbit holes. Like, I get the first appearance, and I'm like, oh, I got to get all the other Gentleman Ghost kind of keys. So there's going to be a bit of Gentleman Ghost theme going on in here. But this is the first appearance of Gentleman Ghost, and it's in a reasonably good shape. Like, when the guy showed it, I kind of graded it as like a 3.0 to 4.0, and he was grading it at like a 6.0. Like, he was like way higher. But I talked him down to making like sort of agreeing that's maybe a 4.0, and he kind of dropped the price as a result. And this book, I think I was negotiating with him for 3-4 months. It's like constantly like saying, hey, you know, it's really not a 6.0. It's really not a 6.0. And I just kind of worked him down. I said, like, look, there's a chip here. And I was like talking him down. But the spine is actually really good shape. It is like actually in really, really good shape. It's just this one chip at the top and this dust shadow that comes down here that really impacts the grade. But the spine is actually in really, really good shape. So yeah, so I was negotiating with this guy. I just kept on talking him down. And I was lucky that nobody else snatched it because it is such a cool book. Really rare book too, actually. First appearance of Gentleman Ghost. So I was quite excited to get that. Okay, now one last book. Hopefully it's something big because I've been showing all these crazy big ones, and it better fit in that theme. Oh geez, that was really weird. Okay, actually not a bad book. Not a huge book or anything, but this one's still cool. This one I got was another steal for me. And this one actually has 2 versions, and I'll explain this one. So this is White Rider and Super Horse. And this, I'm not sure what number, this is number 4. Issue number 4 from Star Comics. Now, this is L.B. Cole art on the cover, and getting this is actually quite hard. Usually when you see this book, you'll see it up here and it'll say, instead of star, it'll say accepted, and that's the reprints. Very common to see it in the reprints, not that common to see it in the actual real version, which is Star Comics. Now, the funny thing is, me saying all that, these comics were actually reprints. What happened was L.B. Cole got the rights to reprint other comics, and he was such a great artist that what he would do is he would reprint the interiors from other people's comics, but he would put on his own cover because he would do this really amazing cover art. Like, you know, people really loved his cover art, and I do too. He'd do these awesome covers, and people would buy it, the reprints based on the cool covers. And collectors actually chase after these L.B. Cole covers because they're quite great. So even though it's a reprint, it's got a unique cover that makes it have some value. So I think I paid like 15, 20 bucks. It was a bit of a steal. So yeah, that was a pretty awesome one. Okay, so that's it for this unboxing. I got a big mess underneath me now. So I hope you enjoyed this part. Stay tuned. There's a lot more big books. You know, I've shown a bunch, but there's a lot more coming. So stay tuned for that. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye for now.